Sally up, green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, green Sally down. Last done start, gotta...
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. I am Marcus Mann, and this is Straight Shooting, where we're going to go in-depth, raw, uncut with all of your favorite PWX superstars. This is their time to answer all the tough questions. This is their time to answer the questions that you, the fans, really want to hear. I'm sitting here tonight with nearly 16-year veteran Crusher Hansen. Crusher, you've agreed to sit down with me for this interview. I appreciate it. I want to ask you a couple tough questions we're going to go through from the start of your career to today. If we can just get right into it, if you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. Crusher, you were part of the first ever PWX training class with the PWX Wrestling Academy, along with Mad Mike, Dennis Gregory, Big Papa Gator, all Circle of Respect members. Also in that was Bubba the Bulldog, local radio personality we all know. Today you're an instructor at the Academy. What are the differences between then and now?
Well, back then, boy, there's really not a lot of differences. The athletes coming through now aren't quite as dedicated as they used to be back then. So that's no shoot on them, but you know, back then we would spend hours and hours and hours in that ring training, multiple nights. Here we do 2 nights a week. We do a couple hours, but guys don't have the time to spend like we used to back then. That to me really is the only true difference between now and then, is the time that we actually spent working on our craft, if we would call it that.
Sure. Staying on the subject of the Pro Wrestling Academy, do you feel that Bubba the Bulldog at that time received any sort of, we'll call it preferential treatment because of who he was?
Well, if you mean not having to pay to be trained and put right in main events as preferential treatment, then yes, he did get preferential treatment. But although he was given the treatment at the beginning, he did have to earn the respect of all the guys still. So I got to give him that. And he's actually turned out to be a fairly decent wrestler. I'm not going to call him great by any means, but you know, he's done okay. But yeah, treatment, yeah. But I can see why, you know, benefiting the show a little bit. But once that first initial show was done, he had to earn the respect of everybody, therefore after. So he's done that.
He's earned your respect?
He's earned my respect, yeah. I'd say he's earned my respect.
You were part of the original Gentlemen's Club, managed by Gentleman Joe Perry, of course. At the time, the group seemed to be overlooked, an afterthought to the powers that be. And ultimately, the 3 men of this group became 3 of the most decorated men in PWX history. Yourself, Mad Mike, Quinn Magnum. How are you guys able to overcome being an afterthought?
Hard work, first of all, hard work. Us 3, myself, Mad Mike, and Quinn, we put hours and hours and hours into the old WrestlePlex training. As soon as we get off work, Quinn, you're going to be out there, yeah. We spent hours. And that was the only way we were going to get ahead. See, because once we were done training, and I'm going to shoot for a second here.
Sure, that's what that's what we're here for.
The bookers back then didn't like myself and Quinn or Mad Mike even to steal the show at such an early stage. So, you know, honestly, we were actually told, me and Quinn were actually told that, this is funny, we can't go out there as an opener and have a better match than the main event's going to have. We were told that. So that's, you know, we were held back. Eventually, once the regime ended and left, you know, our hard work paid off. You know, we got our shot, so to speak, and we just ran with it.
Sure. When your trainer B.A. Briggs returned to PWX in a position of power at that time, behind the scenes in 1998, he seemed to hold some sort of grudge against you. What was the issue? I mean, why did you go to the doghouse, and ultimately you made a couple brief appearances with Steel City Wrestling? What's behind all of that?
Honestly, I could not tell you why. I have I don't know why I was in the doghouse.
Honestly?
Honestly, I don't know why. I have the ultimate respect for my trainer. Okay? That can't be said for everybody who's went through that training class with him. Okay? I give everything I am right now, most of what I am right now, my knowledge, to him. You know, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I am now. I'll give that to him. So I really don't know what the beef was. Although one day I did wear a Job Squad shirt to the ring and he took it the wrong way.
Okay.
Okay? When you're being held back for so long, you gotta make some kind of statement. If that's what it was, that's what it was. As far as the Steel City stuff goes, I was tricked into doing the Steel City thing. See, not a lot of people remember back in the day, we had these little things called contracts that we had to sign that made us exclusive to PWX and really weren't allowed to go out. And we signed them. We did that in good faith because, you know, I wanted to be here. But eventually, I was at a show, and actually it was T. Rancho was in the ring, and he got jumped, and Norm came to me and said, go ahead and make a save. And just being the wrestler, you know, I ran in the ring and made a save on him. That was like pretty much the extent of my Steel City career. Then I got fired from here for 6 months because of it, and then had to, you know, work my way back into the lineup. And I think I only did one other show for Steel City. So I don't know where this, you know, I was in Steel City goes, but it was really only one show probably.
Here at PWX, you've gone on to win every title in the promotion except the Brass Knuckles Championship. It's one that you have yet to win. You are one title short of becoming one of the few men to be a Grand Slam champion. How important would it be to you to be a Grand Slam champion?
Well, Brass Knuckles title has eluded me for a while. Although I don't really know how many chances I've had to win it. Just to be named with the other guys as Grand Slam, that would be great. But honestly, when you've been doing this as long as I have, titles are nice, but they're not the be-all, end-all. You know, to me, now I'm more about entertaining the crowd. If people are happy with how I'm entertaining them, then I'm happy. It's not a matter of having titles and being heavyweight champion, being this champion, being Triple Crown champion. It's more of entertaining now. And a lot of the younger guys, and back in the day, I mean, it probably meant a lot more to me 5 years ago, 6, 7, 8 years ago than it does right now. Would it be nice to have it? Yes. But if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to leave this business saying, oh, you know, I'm avoiding it. You know, because I've done pretty much everything there is to do.
Well, you're still not a Grand Slam. Are you not hungry as much anymore?
It's not that I'm not hungry. It just doesn't matter as much.
Okay. I've just never heard someone say that being a Grand Slam champion wouldn't matter.
It really doesn't. What is it going to prove?
I would put you in a pretty elite company.
I'm already in a league company.
Okay.
I'm a Circle Respect member.
You are.
I'm a 16-year vet.
You're a 16-year vet.
I
Okay.
probably have more matches here at PWX than anybody on the roster, including Quid Magnum, including Brandon Kay. Now I see they got these lists up of wins and losses. Accurately, no. I mean, that's not very accurate. I can tell you that right now.
All right.
Okay, I have a lot more matches than that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's move on. You've been a hero, a good guy to the people out here. Probably just as many times as you've been a villain, a bad guy. They've booed you, they've cheered you. You've gotten reactions every single time. Here's a question for you. Can anyone trust you anymore?
That's a good question. And I can trust myself. Apparently I can't trust anybody because I keep getting jumped by everybody. But yes, they can trust me. Okay? Flip-flop, flip-flop. That's just being young. That's just trying to get ahead. Okay? That's taking shortcuts. I don't need to take shortcuts anymore. You know, before it didn't matter. Oh, they cheered me, they booed me. It didn't really matter. I kind of like the cheers now. Maybe that's a little bit of the ego in me showing. But, you know, yes, they can trust me. I'm not going to flip-flop, turn back and forth. I'm happy being baby, good guy, whatever you want to call it. You know, I enjoy the fan reaction. I enjoy reacting with the fans. I enjoy the shaking the hands at intermission. I enjoy all that. And maybe it's because I have 2 kids of my own now, and I see how these kids, you know, act at the shows that make me feel, you know, I don't want to be that bad guy anymore.
Wow. You reigned as the NWA National Champion and as the NWA North American Tag Team Champion. These are two huge championships. You definitely earned them. There's no doubt about that. But it's been rumored that some within the NWA felt you weren't the ideal looking champion. You went out, to be champion. You think you got a fair shake as champion?
No, honestly, no, I didn't. Yeah, I guess, okay, I'm round. I'm a shape, I'm round. What can I do about it? I'm a fat guy, okay? But I can wrestle my ass off, okay? I can get in there with anybody, whether you're 120 pounds or 420 pounds, and I can put on a great match and entertain the crowd. All they're looking for is a jacked up guy with muscles galore. And half these guys can't even do a wrist lock. Okay? So no, I wasn't given that fair shot like Phil Shatter was. And to take nothing away from Shatter, or Gunner as everybody knows him now, great worker, great look. But I guarantee you I can still out-wrestle him today.
What's your opinions on the NWA?
NWA is a joke. I understand that we're affiliated with it, but what does it really mean? Honestly, what have they really done for us? What have they done for me? Nothing. I was promised when I was NWA national champion that I was going to go over to California and do these TV tapings. They had my plane tickets all ready for me, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Never came through. Never came through. Because of my look, okay? My look.
Your look?
You know, I'm an old guy now. I'm not going to go into the gym for 15 hours a day like some of these guys on the roster do and get in great shape. You know, I have a little more responsibility than I did 15 years ago. So what I am is what it is, what it is.
Your brother Tony Hansen. You trained him as well. He's got a lot of heat behind the scenes. Some feel that he's been riding your coattails, that you carried the tag team, that he wasn't willing to put in the extra work. Is there any truth to this? And what's your opinion on this subject?
I think it's a little bit unfair for everybody to say he rode my coattails. Did he get a little more than most guys would because he was associated with me? Probably. But he worked his butt off for a long time. For a long time before we became these champions. And most people don't know. What they don't know is that Tony has a pretty serious back injury right now. And probably for the past year and a half, he's been dealing with this. So his dedication to getting in the ring and trying to get better has not really been there. I'll give you that. But in turn, there really wasn't a lot he can do. You know, either he gets in the ring and works out, and then gets in the ring and wrestles, and makes his back worse, or he wrestles nice at the shows, and hopefully his back doesn't get any worse by doing that. So it's a really touchy subject with me. That's a real hard question to answer. Next question, please.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to BC Steel, which is probably easier for you to talk about. BC Steel just recently hatched a whole plan to try and take you out of wrestling for good. His men with Dash Bennett, a guy you thought was an ally, a partner. He set you up.
Backstabber.
You know, you're a 16-year veteran. You know, former NWA champion. You know, accolades, circle respect. How come you didn't see this coming?
Who says I didn't see it coming? But who was going to believe me? Like you asked me a couple of questions ago. Who can trust me?
Yeah.
Can they trust me? I flip-flop back and forth, back and forth. You know, in the back of my head, the whole time I had it, I knew it wasn't me, but I couldn't prove it to anybody. No one wanted to really listen, okay? So I had to go out there and do what I had to do, and yeah, I got jumped from behind, and I can't say I didn't see it coming, but maybe I wasn't quite sure who it was, but I knew that it was coming. Because like I said, I knew I wasn't the guy turning, so it had to be one of those guys. Did I see Dash doing it? No, because Dash, I can't even say I didn't see Dash, because you know, just because he's friends with my brother doesn't mean that he's not trying to take shortcuts like I used to try to take. So maybe I should have kept my eye on him a little bit more, but I was kind of hoping to trust him. So, yeah, I mean, even a 16-year-old vet makes mistakes. You know, it happened.
Did you trust your brother too much with his best friend?
In hindsight, maybe my brother steered me a little bit wrong. Maybe he got duped. Because I talked to him, can I trust him? You can trust him, you can trust him. You know, I can't blame my brother. You know, he's upset about this as much as I am. You know, I don't think they're friends anymore. But, you know, you listen to family. That's what happens sometimes.
In recent months, just by my count, I can count about 6 promotions within a, let's say, 50-mile radius. There's live events. They're all claiming to be the best. Every single one on their flyers, best pro wrestling in town.
All right.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? And do you seriously consider PWX the best? Honestly.
Well, honestly, I don't know how they can consider themselves the best when Crusher Hansen's not on any of their shows. Honestly.
Okay.
And do I think PWX is the best? PWX, yes, PWX is the best. The best indie promotion around right now in this area. And that's what I know. I know this area. I don't know Philadelphia. I don't know all the other places. But where else can you work twice a month in a building like we run now? Nobody's offering that. You know? We got great talent on the roster up and down. Now, we had our dead spot a couple of years ago with talent, where we had some guys that were good, some guys that weren't that good. Now, in my opinion, top to bottom, this roster is as solid as any roster, indie roster that you're going to see in the country.
All right, let's stay on this subject real quick. Where PWX was a year ago to where it is today, there's been a jump, a vast jump. Where do you think PWX is today as opposed to where it was a year ago?
Well, it's night and day. It's like the outhouse and the penthouse. You know, I mean, we were running in a building, a banquet hall that people called a log cabin. You know, yeah, it looked like a log cabin. To running in this building that looks like a mini arena. I mean, in my opinion, PWX is almost back. I'm not going to say quite back. Almost back to the days when we were doing our TV tapings in the old WrestlePlex, which, in my opinion, was the best building we were in. Even though it had bugs crawling around and the candy store in front, there was just something about that building that was home. And this place right now is the closest to home as we've ever been. And I think the fans see that, and that's why they're coming as much as they are. I mean, I remember a year ago, we were drawing 60, 80 people. Now we're drawing 250, 300 people sometimes. I mean, it's great. I mean, you don't know how nice it is to walk out of that curtain and see a full crowd of people. You know, I would never not work any differently in front of 50 people as I would 250 people, 1,000 people. But it's much nicer to get their reaction from 250, 300 people than it is from the 50, 60 people that used to do the shows.
Sure. I want to finish up this with a little word association. I'm sure you know how to play word association.
Sure.
I got 10 names here. I'm going to just throw in a name of just 1 or 2 words, you know, feelings that you have about it.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
Desiree.
Best friend.
Okay. Tony Hansen.
Little brother.
Okay. Mad Mike.
Stiff.
All right. Chris Taylor.
Chris Taylor. Good little man.
All right. Terry Rand.
Terry. Keep it shut.
All right. Quinn Magna.
Genius.
Strider.
Strider. Wow. The future.
Wow. Very high praise. Ashton Amherst.
The present.
All right. Brandon Kay.
Old dog.
All right. Finally, BC Steel.
Little bitch.
All right. Crusher, I thank you for joining me
Thank you.
on this inaugural edition, and I hope everyone out there enjoyed it, and I hope we do many more of these for you guys. So thank you, and please keep watching.